Covering music-related content of all genres. If it filters through Eastern Texas, it's fair game. Y'all bring it. From Texarkana down to the coast and Dallas down to Houston and everything in between. We are ETX ROCKS! Hit the brakes. Cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to ETX ROCKS, and we thank you. This episode is brought to you by Everything That Blings in Kilgore, Texas. And here's your host with another awesome guest, Boston Chris.
Hey y'all, welcome to a brand new episode of the ETX ROCKS podcast. And we're sitting here with a very supportive guy who supports local music here in the East Texas area very, very much, as well as being part of a very prominent rock band, 2015 Rock Band of the Year, TEAZUR. Mr. Tobie Turner, say hello.
How you doing, guys?
So Tobie's been around for a minute as far as music goes. He grew up in a musical household, and I'm going to let him tell you guys the story because it just blew my socks off, the genres that he was associated with when he was just a youngster. Tell us about your roots. I know they weren't exactly rock and roll.
No, actually, I was... Well, to start off with, I'm a preacher's kid, so let's get that out of the way now. Insert your jokes or raise your eyebrows. But yeah, I was a preacher's kid, and I was raised in church playing music. Before that, before my mom and dad found the Lord, they did a lot of the same things that I do. They played in honky-tonks and SPJCA lodges, and Elks lodges, and private parties, and they were part of a group called the Piney Woods Trio back whenever I was a wee tot. And
A wee tot.
A wee tot.
They
and,
were country?
Country music, yes, at the time. Like I said, before they found religion and found the Lord, they were backsliders or sliders. I don't think they'd even backslid at that point, but they were doing the same thing that I do now. They were playing every Friday and Saturday night out in the bars, and I remember going into a little place in Kilgore that if you're from around Kilgore, you know where the Silver Dollar is. It's just an old rundown building now that's been used and burned and used, and it's just occupying space now. But I remember going in there with my parents on more than one occasion to be the light man, the light operator. And
how old were you at this time?
I don't know that I can actually say that. There's probably child labor laws and and all kinds of things, but I was very young.
I think the statute of limitations.
I was probably around 7, 8 years old.
Cool.
But anytime my parents were playing music, I was right there underfoot in the way, singing along and percussioning along. I beat on everything. I thought I was a drummer. And it was fun for me. I didn't know anything else. And when years went along, I got out of that and got into church and stayed with music. And probably when I was 8 or 9 years old, I started playing drums for their gospel group, which was it was a touring group. Did a lot of the old standards and a lot of the popular music, by the Rambos and the Hensons at the time. And we used to go out to Barton's Tabernacle, which I don't know if it's still there or not. It used to be out in a little community out west of Gilmer out in the sticks.
It's a long way from the Silver Dollar.
It's just an old barn out in the middle of nowhere that the gospel elite, everybody played there. Everybody you can think of played there. Sawdust on the floor, just an old converted barn with a stage in the back, and good times, I had a very good childhood playing drums with them. Recorded and played all over this part of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas.
So how were your parents as far as, how supportive were they as far as you possibly getting into the business when you were older as well?
Well, I got away from it for a long time, so, things happen. I got completely out of playing music when I discovered sports.
Yeah.
I figured out I was pretty good at playing football. And I went to school at Kilgore High School, so if you play football at Kilgore High School, you don't do much of anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much a priority there. At least it was back then. I'm sure it still is to a point now. Kids seem to do everything. But I got away from playing music. Especially got away from playing in church and traveling with mom and dad so much because I had to devote a lot of time to being an athlete, being a football player. And there was one time I thought that's what I wanted to do, and had my sights set on it. And as luck usually turns, there's always something that comes along that puts a stop to that,
right,
and gives you a reality check. But yeah.
So it sounds like when you have your focus on something, that gets all your energy, your time,
I don't multitask very well.
Yeah.
I mean, I was into sports real big whenever I was in high school. I still played, but I didn't play with mom and dad. They were, at the time, they were very devout, stout Christians, and, they put up with my Kiss records when I was 7, 8 years old, because it was just a fad.
Yeah.
But Kiss was the devil. To mom and dad, that was it was black or white. You're either for the good or for the bad, and they saw that kind of thing as to the bad. And I understand it. I understand the thinking. I can look back on it and smile now. And to be honest with you, whenever I first started playing with TEAZUR, I kind of wondered how my dad would take it.
Well, how did he take it?
He's been very supportive. I know he's proud of me. He's proud of all of us. I mean, he looks at Mike and the guys as family. He treats us all like his children. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
But yeah, I'm surprised. Not surprisingly, because your parents are your parents. They're going to be behind you, no matter what you do. But I always was worried about disappointing my dad.
Yeah.
I don't think I have. I think he's very proud of what we do.
Well, as far as not only your music life, but your family life is something very, I think you would be very proud of as well.
Yeah.
I know you're a dad, you're a husband, you've been married to the same woman your whole life, basically.
26 years.
26 years, and her name is Brandy. Tell us about Brandy, how you guys met, and how you guys have kept it together all these years.
Well, that's another full circle thing. Brandy and our parents were friends back in the day whenever my parents played music, in bands. A lot of the people that we hung around with, they were all musicians. All the kids were close to the same age. So every summer, we would all get together. I don't know how many families, 6, 7, 8 families, all of them with multiple kids. We'd go take over an RV park somewhere in a lake, like Merval or somewhere up on Bob Sandlin or somewhere. And during the day, the kids ran and played and swam and sunburned. And at night, we usually had a gooseneck trailer set up with music equipment set on it, and we entertained the entire campground.
That's awesome.
So when nightfall rolled around, I didn't get to go play in the dark with the kids. I had to get up on stage and play drums and be part of the band. And
so she's always been your biggest fan.
We met. I don't know about that. I mean, we were kids. We were all part of the same throng, but we didn't, we didn't really notice each other back then. We started dating. She actually went to Sabine High School, or to the Sabine School District, and I was going to Kilgore. We, things happen. You drift apart. Families get busy doing other things. And one year, it was my senior year in high school at Kilgore, and we had a mutual friend that back then you could go to a concert in Shreveport at Hearst Memorial and see 2 or 3 bands for $15.
Yeah.
You buy tickets, general admission, you get anywhere in the arena that you want to. And it was going to an AC/DC concert, and she asked me to go as part of a group, and I'd already seen AC/DC twice. I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna skip this one. I'm saving my money for Band X or whatever it was. And she told me that Brandy was going, that she was part of the group, and it piqued my interest. I'm like, well, I hadn't seen her in a long time. I'd like to kind of see how she turned out,
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit on the phone and met up at the concert and started dating the next day.
Wow.
Called her the next night, and back when you still had a landline, we had what you call a teen line, second line in the house that didn't tie up mom and dad's phone. And we would lay in bed till 2, 3 in the morning sometime, trying to talk into your hand so that mom and dad didn't hear you.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Good times, huh?
Yeah. I got a quick story about that. My mom used to catch me all the time, and she'd take my phone.
Chris, get off the phone.
Yeah. I've done told you once. I'm taking your phone now. Well, I had a full-time job.
But she had to actually unplug it out of the wall.
Yeah, out of the wall. But what I did is I cut a little hole in the bottom of my of my, what do they call it, underneath the mattress? Box spring. Got a little hole in the bottom of my box spring, and I kept buying telephones and sticking them up under there. So that way when my mom would come in and grab my phone, I would have another one ready underneath my box spring. So yeah, I don't know what happened to all those phones she jacked from me. Yeah. But I always had a phone. She never caught on that she could just get rid of my line and it would be over, you know?
Wow. That's
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, we started dating, and you know, it's part of the sports story. I was a pretty good student in school, and I'm probably not as good as I could have been. I had my mind more on sports and girls than I did on books. But,
of course.
Well, I had a pretty debilitating knee injury that kept me from going to college and playing ball, and when you have that drastic a life change at such a young age, you know, it really alters the way you think. And I dropped out of school, you know, end of my first semester of my senior year, and I dropped out of school like an idiot.
So just sent you straight into depression?
It did. And it's a I mean, it's not an atypical story. I mean, I've talked to athletes around. Edwin Simmons, that was went to Hawkins High School and went on to play football at the University of Texas. Was one of the greatest backs, or could have been one of the greatest backs around here. He and I used to work together, and we've discussed it, you know, and talked about it, because his collegiate career ended the same way, and he was playing on a much bigger stage than I was.
Right.
But we, you know, you kind of develop a bond with him. You know, it's not like being in the military and coming home with PTSD or anything like that.
Right.
But it sure, you know, anything, you know, it's depressing.
Well, I mean, when you put your heart and soul and all your energy into something, and then you can't do it anymore. I mean, whether it's the military or not, it can still be pretty debilitating.
Well, and I have to say that Brandy coming along when she did, you know, it really it was a turning point for me.
Yeah.
I went back to school, but I went out to Sabine so I could be with her.
Of course.
You know, she was a year behind me in school, so when I went out there, I had to go the whole senior year. So, and it worked out perfectly. We got to see each other every day. We had some classes together, graduated together, and got married 2 years out of high school. We're still together.
That's awesome. I know she's every time we're at one of your shows, she's there.
If you don't see her at a show, it's because she is ill.
Yeah.
Or it's something that got to do with, you know, time constraints or something.
Yeah.
There are times that we're playing in Nacogdoches Friday night at 6 o'clock, and her office doesn't close till 5:30.
Is that at McLemore's?
No. McLemore's is a restaurant. We're playing at the Harley what's it called?
The Harley place.
Lumberjack Harley. Yeah.
Okay.
They're having a back to the 80s party, and we're going to be the band.
That's pretty cool.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm really.
One thing I got to say is, for those folks out there that have never been to a TEAZUR show, first of all, why not? And second of all, anytime you see Brandy looking up on stage, it's just, I mean, it's pure love, and you know what I'm talking about, because I know you feel that.
Either that or she's reading through my line of crap or whatever, and she's got a smirk on her face. She's been around long enough to know how to sniff me out. You know, it's we have a good time, don't get me wrong, but they're nice when your body hurts so bad and you're exhausted from playing 2 or 3 shows that week that you're forcing a smile.
Right.
And looking out and seeing your loved ones there with you, it really gives you that extra energy to push through and put on a good show. And that's what it is for us. We try to treat every show like there are people there that have never seen us before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you only get one chance to make a first impression.
That's a good way of going
that's
about
one
it.
Of our that's one of our philosophies. We'll play every show the same way, whether we're playing to 5,000 people or 5.
Right.
We try to put on the same show.
And the cool thing about a TEAZUR show is it's so high energy, and what separates you guys from pretty much every band I've ever seen is I think you guys only take one break a night, right?
Well, and there's a reason for that too. You know, everything is kind of by design. You know, in this business, we've noticed that, and because our shows are pretty upbeat and high energy, we don't talk a lot.
Right.
There are a lot of times we'll go from song to song to song before anybody says a word.
It's awesome.
But it takes a toll on you. You know,
I'm sure.
You don't really get a chance to catch your breath, and at the same time, the audience doesn't get a chance to catch their breath. So when you take one break, usually a show is 4 hours.
Right.
It's 3 one-hour sets and 2 half-hour breaks in between.
Right.
Well, we noticed that when you take that second break, that's everybody's cue to head home.
Yeah.
And there have been many nights that we've started the last hour of the show when we were playing to 300 people. Now we're playing to 20.
Yeah.
And kind of to combat that and keep people in the bar, which is what you're hired for. As the entertainment, you're hired to keep people in that establishment as long as you can,
right,
and having a good time as long as you can. And we kind of, it's just kind of been our thing. And I'm sure that there are other people that have noticed it too and adopted it. That we play 2 hour-and-a-half sets and take a fairly long break in between, and it works out better. I mean,
yeah, I like it. It's
we don't lose near as many people when we do.
I like it a lot, just because you're just,
it's exhausting.
As a fan, you're more engaged with the band, because the band isn't just taking a break. I mean, sometimes you're just starting to feel the band, and it's like, oh, we'll be back in 20 minutes. Stick around.
You just got started, guys.
Yeah. It's like, come on, man, I was there with you, and then you let me down. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I love about TEAZUR is, I mean, the energy level is ridiculous. I don't know how you guys do it.
Mostly it's Rio. We,
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
It's kind of funny. Rio comes to center stage, right in the middle a lot, and people said, man, Rio steps in your spot a lot. I said, no, that's not my spot. Everybody's got the only person that's nailed to a spot on the stage is Mike.
Yeah, and that's because they put a cage around him.
Got him. But I mean, there are spots in the show that we try to give Mike a break to, and let Clint play something on the keys or something, and let him take a break, because
Yeah, one of the coolest moments I can remember was at Herb and D's, I think, and you and Clint were doing a version of Desperado.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Mike gets up. And he comes out and stretches his legs a little bit, and he'll sing. He'll sing a little harmony with us.
Yeah, I love it. It's just, it's cool to see a band that's really thinking outside the box and thinking more just about music. It's, thinking and strategizing about why to do certain things and how to do them. And
well, our thing is we want you to make sure that you get your $5 worth at the end of the night. We want you to walk out there going, wow, I think I need to throw some more money in the bucket or something. I'm joking, of course.
And always trying to figure out how to get people to come back to see you.
Absolutely. Getting your foot in the door is the easy thing.
Right.
Getting invited back.
Yeah.
And there are some bands that don't get that. They come out there and they throw it all out there the first night and rock star it up and drop the mic and go home, and that's not who we are. We want to connect with everybody. We want everybody. We're approachable. To us, that's the big thing. There are so many talented musicians around East Texas, and there are a lot of options.
Yeah.
People have, and I've always said, and this is a Tobism, I guess, is that no one band is everyone's cup of tea.
Right.
Everybody, that's why there's so many colors. That's why there's so many different style of car. That's why there's so many genres in music. You're never going to please everybody.
That's right.
Never. No matter how good or the level of musicianship. But if you're good people on top of that, and we've had, and it's the biggest compliment for us for somebody to come up and say, man, I don't even like what you're playing, but you guys are great.
Yeah.
You're just so nice and fun and engaging. I'm like,
well, what was that show you guys did maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 months ago where there was a little boy or something there? Maybe it was a benefit or something, but it was his first rock concert or something, and you guys had all signed his shirt.
I know what you're talking about. That was at that was a Big Sandy.
Yeah.
It was a Big Sandy at Circle M. Yeah, what it was, that boy was autistic.
Right.
And he didn't do crowds and loud noises very well, but he was so into what we were doing, and his mother came up and she's telling me, said he loves you guys, and he doesn't. He gravitated towards us, at the front of the stage, and she said he doesn't let people touch him. He's just got that issue where he's he's got that disconnect. Well, he comes up and he gives me a big hug and get him a T-shirt, and I stopped the show. I'm like, hey, let's sign this kid's shirt, and because I don't know how long he'll stay like this,
right. Yeah.
So we stopped what we were doing, signed it, and took a picture with him, and which it didn't seem that big a deal to us. I mean, we, that's not anything out of the ordinary that anybody else wouldn't do.
Right.
But to get the backstory after the fact of her coming up with tears in her eyes, saying, "Hey, he just doesn't let people touch him like that." I'm surprised he didn't freak out a little bit.
Right.
I'm like, well, he acted like he's one of my kids when he came up.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a big deal for us.
Yeah, and it should be. I mean, I remember. I mean, that stuck with me, and it's like several months later. I remember the pictures and things like that. We have an autistic child as well.
Really?
With Asperger's, so we know how that is, especially with the touch and the sensitivity.
Yeah, he's
So when we see things like that, it means something to us too. And I know other people probably saw that on your
Well, and that's the thing. You never know who's watching.
Right. Exactly. And you should always, live your life like you don't know who's watching.
That's true.
Because if you have to think about, hey, should I be nice now?
No. If you got to think about it, it's
too late. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went from basically performing as a kid as a touring band with your folks into football, got the injury, which stopped your football, and now you're moving into family.
Flashing.
Yeah, we're still good. That's just an ad.
Yeah, we Brandy and I we got married in '90 and had our child in '92, and he was to say the least, it was very difficult getting him here. He was 3 months premature.
Wow.
He weighed 1 pound and 7 ounces when he was born, and spent a little over a month at Baylor Medical. And I was working in the oil field. Had a pretty good job. Was staying busy all the time, making decent money. But I was really glad that I had good insurance, because the bill for keeping a child in a neonatal unit in Baylor for a little over a month, yeah, that exhausted me.
But he made it.
And he made it, and he just turned 24.
Wow, what a blessing.
Yeah, he turned 24 in May. And but as you can imagine, being away from work and spending a lot of time on the road back and forth from Dallas to Kilgore, because we still lived here.
Right.
Exhausted a lot of our resources, and so I had to sell off music equipment or whatever I had, just to kind of make ends meet there for a little while. And at the time, it didn't really bother me that much, because priorities.
Yeah, of course.
Now, though, man, if I could have sold anything else or done anything to make extra money, I'd never would have done that, because when I stepped away from it, I stayed away from it for 2 decades.
Did you miss performing?
Not really. I stayed busy with our sons. He was into everything. When he got a little older and started playing sports, he was a natural athlete, fast.
Yeah.
He was very slim growing up, which was, I haven't always had that, but I never was as slim and as quick as he was either.
Right.
And, I was that dad. I coached baseball. I coached Little League football. I was the president of the Booster Club. I helped coach all the summer league stuff. And
he was super dad.
Well, I was dad. I was busy dad.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was super dad or not.
That's the same thing.
But when you've got one, you've only got one. I mean, because we had, the docs told us that we had a 25% chance of the same thing happening the next time, and I almost lost them both. I'm like, you're gonna be an only child, son.
Yeah.
I'm not taking that chance. So I spent every waking moment. I didn't miss ball games.
So it's the same thing. You threw everything into this.
Threw everything into that.
Yeah.
And I don't regret that one bit.
Of course not.
Not at all. But when he got up and got out of school and kind of started making his way out of the nest, I started looking back at it. We used to go to karaoke bars back whenever he was.
I was just going to get into that.
And it's funny, because we'd go to a karaoke bar to watch, to listen. We'd sit and smile and laugh and clap and cheer with everybody else. And to me, it was just the neatest thing. I'd never been in a karaoke bar, and that's where I met Richard Stewart. He and his wife, they used to come into the bowling alley there in Longview, Oil Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And they had karaoke on whatever night it was, and we'd go in there. It wasn't real crowded. We'd go in there and sit, and carry a small group of friends, and blend into the scenery. And I remember one night there wasn't a lot of singers, and everybody was goading me to get up. Oh, get up and try it, Tobie. You might like it. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to sit here and watch, and there'll be some more people come in. Well, I got up and sang a song, and after that, everybody's like, why haven't you been singing? I'm like, well, I just, I like to watch.
I know the first time that I met you, and you may not remember this, but first time I met you was pre-TEAZUR. It was pre-Boston Chris. It was back when nobody knew who either one of us was, probably.
I'm not sure anybody knows who I am now.
Oh, they do. They do. But it was at Buck's Bar on 31 in Kilgore.
Okay, yeah.
I was the karaoke host there, and you came in singing.
I'll be.
And I'll never forget it. You were singing Wanted Dead or Alive.
That was the very first karaoke song I ever did, and everybody wanted to hear that song. That's the thing with karaoke. Karaoke singers, they, like anybody else, they their identity kind of goes to the songs that they sing. You know, everybody has quote unquote their song or songs that they sing, and that was one of mine.
Another one was Purple Rain.
Well, that was by request. That wasn't really mine.
I'm just letting you know the memory I have.
There were a few people that wanted to hear that song.
The first time I saw you with TEAZUR, I was like, I know him from somewhere. And then it occurred to me that, it was at Buck's. You used to come in and sing karaoke.
What is that place called now?
It's the Cheyenne Club now.
The Cheyenne Club.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It used to be Just One More. And then,
it's been a number of things.
A couple of different ones. Right down the road from the Silver Dollar.
Right down the street from the Silver Dollar.
In fact, I was the last person to play karaoke in the Silver Dollar.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Before they shut down the last time. So it's funny, like we talk about all the Kilgore history and stuff.
Very small world.
Yeah, for sure. We've crossed paths a few times, but it's cool to see you now with this. You know, well, here's a question for you that's not on my list, but I think I need to ask it. How difficult is it? You know, you've already done the music touring as a child. You've been in football, out of football, started a family, and everything you've done, you've thrown everything into. You're narrow-minded and focused on that. It's like a laser beam. So how, once your family has grown, your son has grown, how do you focus and get into music and become a rock star? What some would say a little bit of a later age.
I'm not a rock star.
You are a rock star.
I am
Tobie
not a
Turner.
rock star.
I disagree.
Nobody knows me outside of the 903, and that makes me not a rock star.
You might be surprised.
Well.
Okay, well, you're a local rock star. Let's go with that. Can you agree with that, Tobie?
No, but thank you. No, I'm not a rock star. Rock stars are assholes, basically, and I try not to be that. But
disclaimer time.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Sorry. But what was the question again? How do you get back into it?
Yeah, how do you get into it? And
Well, I kind of got burnt out on the karaoke thing, and my dad had an old bass that he gave me that was part of his church. That he gave it to me whenever he got to the point where they didn't have a church building that you went to with all the equipment set up to play, because I played in church for years too.
Yeah.
But when I got away from it, I was digging through the closet one day looking for something and noticed that bass sitting back there and drug it out and sat down and played around on it to see if I could still remember where an E and a G and a B was.
Right.
And was bitterly disappointed that I'd lost so much dexterity. I mean, it's not like riding a bicycle. And there are musicians out there that are shaking their head right now. Put it down for a year, when you put it down for 2 decades, you kind of got.
You played bass as a kid.
I played bass as a teenager, yes. Yeah. And bass was actually the instrument that I had kind of crossed over from country and gospel into rock. A lot of my influence. Of course, I was a big Kiss fan growing up. Right. Gene Simmons, to me, it was amazing to me how well he could play and sing, playing a rhythm instrument, because it's not what it's cracked up to be. It's, when you're playing a rhythm instrument, you're not playing the melody. You're playing the beat. Right. Or playing,
kind of repetitious.
Yeah, you're playing the rhythm, and it's not as easy to play a rhythm instrument and sing. So Clint McMullen, oh my God, he to me he is just
incredible bass.
He is an incredible bass player. He's an incredible musician.
Yeah, I agree.
You walk into his house and he's got all kinds of things hanging on the wall, and he not only can he play them all, he does play them all. Mm-hmm. Which, if you've been to a TEAZUR show, you know that.
Of course,
he does everything. But I picked that thing up and played around on it a little bit, and kind of got nostalgic about it, put it back in the closet, and I thought, well, we'll just see what's out there. Maybe I'll get back into it, start singing a little bit, and answered a Craigslist ad. Was just looking around. I wasn't looking for a situation on Craigslist, but you kind of lean over that way, and I get to looking down the musicians wanted, and I see an ad for a singer for a startup band in Tyler. And I didn't really know anybody in Tyler at the time. I knew a few people. but in the music industry over there, but not enough that I felt really comfortable just to, nobody knew me.
Right.
So I answered this ad, and it's kind of a funny story. I answered the ad, and I wound up breaking my jaw in a freak thing. So it was months before I could actually go meet these people. Well, when I got where I could talk again, they were still interested,
Wow.
still looking for a singer. So I went and met with these guys and started singing and playing, and that really gave me the itch again.
One of these guys was Mark Lumpkin, right?
One of the guys was Mark Lumpkin. Yes,
Speaking of
absolutely.
incredible bassist.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He's one of the best around here.
Yeah.
Very good bass player.
Oh my
and
gosh.
he's another guy. He sings lead every night.
Yeah.
Sings lead and plays, and one of these days I'm going to get over to his house and kind of walk into his vault and see what all the axes he's got hanging.
Oh, I can
over
imagine.
there.
He takes enough pictures.
Oh wow. Yeah, it was Mark Lumpkin. It was actually Brett Brooksher's house. Brett he plays drums with Clint and I in our side project when we plug in.
That's Coldfire, right?
That was
Black Box?
It's Black Box.
Okay.
And it's kind of weird how we started plugging in. We just filled in a Friday night one night, and that's not acoustic night. So I thought, man, I'll call a drummer. I'll see if Brett wants to come sit in with us. And, so 5 years after I go meet these guys, I finally get to play a show with Brett. But the thing about it, Mark had been playing in bands. He played with Dallas.
Yeah.
And a lot of other people had been playing for years, and he was that guy. He was me, but he didn't put it down. He kept playing through that whole time. And it got a little frustrating because we were working on stuff, and the stuff that we were doing, it was a little newer age than what everybody was used to playing. Everybody knew the old standards, all the old ZZ Top, Eric Clapton, but we were doing Whitesnake and the Toadies and Rage Against the Machine and all this, this new kind of stuff, and it was very difficult for people our age to pick that up and retain it.
Yeah.
So we would make the same mistakes every week in practice. Didn't really seem like we were making it. It sounded great. I mean, it sounded good, but we always, it got frustrating, and one thing led to another, and it dismantled before it got started well. And I hated that because I was really looking forward to going and playing live, and I kind of backed out of it.
And what are your parents thinking at this time?
They didn't know. Mom and Dad, they had moved out in the country, and I don't see them all the time like I used to. And so he knew that I was kind of kicking around. Mm-hmm. He wanted to know if I was playing. I'm like, no, I'm just singing, just kind of testing the old chops a little bit. And during that time, it was just a couple of weeks after that, I'd talked to a couple of other musicians, one of them being Mike Hill that plays with the Haggertys and Kid Icarus.
Kid Icarus, yeah.
I went to school with Mike. He went to school at Kilgore. And we had talked about putting something together, and during that time I get a random text from Mike Reiner. And it was kind of weird because, my phone goes off. I'm sitting in Lufkin, and it's a picture of Mike Reiner on my phone, and we'd only met on 2 occasions. Very briefly. He didn't remember me that I knew of. So it was kind of odd that I had his phone number, and well, what it was, his Facebook was linked to my phone.
Oh yeah.
He had his phone number and everything linked. So whenever it went off, I got raised eyebrows looking at this. And at the time, Tim King, who was the singer that for TEAZUR at the time, he was working at Eastman, and schedule was getting to the point where he didn't have very much family time, and he was going to step away from it.
Yeah.
He wanted to know if I wanted to audition, and I thought, I'm looking around like, who's yanking my chain here? Is this for real? Because I was a fan of the band.
Yeah. And
we kind of gnawed back and forth a little bit until I realized, hey, he's for real. So he said, yeah. He said, if you're interested in auditioning, pick 10 songs off of our set list. Because he told me the website, and I went and looked, and it's all stuff that I knew already for the most part. So I sent him a list of 10 songs and meet him 2 days later at his house and meet Stacy Shue and John Bettinghouse, which were playing bass and guitar at the time for TEAZUR. And, it was very natural. It just seemed, I seemed so at ease with those guys. Yeah. Came in and went through 2 songs, and at the end of those 2 songs, Mike, he's looking at these 2 guys, and auditions are not supposed to go that way.
No.
You're supposed to go in, audition, thank everybody for their time and leave. Well, he offered me the spot. He offered me the job right there on the spot. It's a head shake over there, and he's like, "Gig's yours."
When was that?
That was in 2012.
Wow. So how long has this version of TEAZUR been
This
together?
version of TEAZUR is 2 years old.
Okay.
John and Stacy, I played with them for, wait a minute, I'll be a little older than 2 years. I came on in October of 2012, and I think I played right out a year with that lineup or so before John and Stacy went to do an original project with someone else, some stuff that they had been talking about before, wanting to do something different besides the cover band thing. And Mike had already talked to, Clint had already actually been a member of TEAZUR before.
Okay.
He'd played guitar. He was the second guitar in TEAZUR in a previous version.
Okay.
TEAZUR's been a band for 10 years now.
Okay.
And Clint had been in the band before, and Mike knew, kind of musician he was, and had gotten in touch with Rio through Richard Stewart. He was playing with Richard Stewart at the time. And the same thing with them, came in for an audition, we played through some stuff, and it was just
natural.
It just fit.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of had the same idea, of what we wanted to do, and here we are today.
So you guys have the reputation of being one of the hardest working bands in East Texas. I know you guys are pretty much booked every Saturday.
Every Saturday is booked.
Yeah.
Every Saturday.
And you guys have just started doing some Friday shows as well.
Yeah, that's the thing with booking, because Mike will book up the entire year. He starts booking in October.
Right.
And the way he's been doing it for years, so he likes to get a rotation, about a 2-month rotation, and he'll call these places up and schedule them, and by November, the entire year's full.
Yeah.
Well,
that's incredible.
When a festival comes around and, hey, we got this festival on this week, well, we're booked.
Right.
Well, we'd like you guys to come play this. Man, we'd love to. We're booked. So we started offering Fridays.
Yeah.
And, the stuff we do is very vocally taxing. And for a while, I was the anchor, doing what we do. And
well, how do you stay fresh?
You don't.
You don't
push
through it.
You just learn how to pace yourself a little bit and maintain. And Melody McMullen and Clint, they're both choir teachers, and Melody noticed early on when Clint joined the band that a lot of my problem was breathing.
Yeah.
Said you're not breathing right, and she gave me some exercises, and actually went and talked to the vocal coach or the vocal teacher at KC, and she told me the same thing. And it's a very simple fix, once you develop the right habits, start using a little bit better technique, then you're able to sustain and last a little longer. And it's just that, and playing every Saturday and now every Friday and a lot of Thursdays and some Wednesdays and a Tuesday here and there, like with TEAZUR and with Black Box at the side project. You kind of pace yourself, and
you guys definitely work hard. I know that.
Yeah, it's always a dream to be able to do what you love full time, and there's no way. You can always dream of catching lightning in a bottle, but we're at the age now where we work as hard as we can. Everybody's got day jobs. I mean, Rio and Jackie have got a store. They're business owners, and we started an album and got off to a pretty good start, and then life happened, and everybody kind of pulled back and busy doing other things, and we've just got to refocus and get back to finishing it. We've got tracks now that we've got to finish. We've got 3 in the can.
Yeah.
One that we kind of discarded that we wrote earlier.
Well, we will get to that real soon. We have a fan question on that one.
Okay.
You mentioned Rio's store, and I wanted to do a little commercial for them. This episode of ETX Rocks is brought to you by Rio and Jackie's store. It's called Everything That Blings. It's located right there in downtown Kilgore. On Main Street. And if you're coming into downtown Kilgore and you take a left onto Main Street, it'll be right there on the left-hand side. Everything That Blings has all kinds of great blingy stuff, as Rio would call it, sexy time, as Rio might call it, for all you ladies out there. And men, you need to shop at Everything That Blings too, because everybody out there knows that you men get in trouble sometimes. Isn't that right, Tobie Turner?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He knows what I'm talking about. And when you get into trouble, you need to go to Everything That Blings. If you can't get down there and maybe you're out of the area, check out Everything That Blings on Facebook at facebook.com/everythingthatblings. that blings. And we also want to thank Rio and Jackie for being a 2016 sponsor for the East Texas Music Awards.
Rio and Jackie are great.
Yes, they are.
Great
And they have some great stuff out there. I know my girlfriend loves to go out there and window shop. I don't give her any money. She just window shops.
Well, you know, Rio and Guest have been known to put on impromptu jams at the backside of the store. So you never know. When you walk in, you may hear Rio tearing up the 12-string or working on.
You might see Allie out there.
You may see Allie
Lacey
Venable
Carpenter
out there, or Lacey, or yours truly.
Yeah, you just never know.
Clint and I went in there one night, and we kind of hashed out some stuff that we were. I'm playing bass a lot more now. Clint's.
You get that beautiful birthday present.
Oh, I did, and I love it. I actually played that one this past Saturday night in Jefferson. Love that guitar, man. It's kind of funny. I had a Jackson whenever I was a teenager, and it was my cheap one. It was my very lightweight. It's one I played all the time. But I had a 1976 stereo Rickenbacker that was my baby that I wound up selling. When the story I was telling you earlier, I wound up selling that thing whenever my son was born to pay some bills, and that was one of the biggest regrets I ever had.
Well, now you have it's a beautiful guitar.
I have several now.
Yeah.
When Clint actually asked me to play bass for Cold Fire, for sit in when Richard was whatever, and I'm like, man, I don't even have any gear. I don't have a guitar. We could play one of mine. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So sorry, but I had to go buy some stuff. I've picked a few up since then. Yeah.
So how difficult do you find it to balance your music career and your family life?
Not at all. Not at all. Brandy, like I said, we're empty nesters. Cole has got a family of his own. He's got a fiance with 2 beautiful children, and when we play at the back porch, you're liable to see them there.
Yep, we sure have.
And Brandy, she's my only fan. I don't have fans. And I can't take credit for that. That's something I learned whenever I stepped in with TEAZUR. Is Mike Reiner said we don't have fans. So when you call somebody a fan, you're putting yourself above them. He said we have friends.
That's awesome.
And that one statement right there probably solidified my decision and told me that I was home, because he and I think so much alike. And it's weird sometimes. We'll finish each other's conversations. We'll have an idea and we're already on the same page. Or, yeah, I know, bro, I was just fixing to call you. I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
So I got to ask this one. My girlfriend put this one in here. I'm going to try to say this with a straight face. So behind every great man is a great woman.
Absolutely.
How true do you find that quote?
Absolute. I mean, in my case anyway, and apparently in yours too.
Oh, I agree.
I told her early on, I said, this is going to be a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of attention thrown on me. Just playing music in a live setting where there's alcohol flowing. I said, there's going to be some unwanted attention at times. I said, and you just need to know where my heart's at. And the one thing we've always had between us is trust. If I look at her and there's somebody flirting with her, I leave it alone unless she gives me that look. Then I get involved.
Yep.
I rarely have to do that because she's
same here.
She's able to take care of herself. But no, she couldn't. I don't know if anybody could be more supportive.
Makes it a lot easier, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, it's just I've had other girlfriends, but
not me. Yeah, right.
But I mean, it's like it's hard to find that one that wants the same things you do.
That's right.
And always pulling on the same side.
Well, and whatever I've decided to do as far as I wouldn't call it hobbies, but running the booster club at my son's school. Some people call it a hobby. To me, it was too much work to be considered a hobby.
I would agree with that.
It was a full-time job, my son actually told me his senior year, he said, Dad, I'm tired of seeing you up here at the school. You're more popular here than I am. Everybody knows who you are.
Right.
I'm like, son, just ignore me when you see me in the hallway, because I'm not here to keep tabs on you. I'm busy.
Right.
I'm working for all the kids. It's not just you.
Right.
And went through that, and she was right there with me, helping out. Played couple of years of semi-pro football. She sat in stands and chewed her fingernails through that, and got into music, and she has been both arms and both feet deep in it with me. You know,
Yeah. That's really cool.
I'm very lucky.
So you guys with 6 East Texas Music Award nominations this year.
How'd that happen?
Popular.
You
did you ever expect TEAZUR to be that popular?
honestly, Chris, we won the thing last year, and I don't think anybody was more shocked in that room than I
Yeah,
was.
you were beside yourself.
I was actually sitting there grinning at Paul Bebo as presenting the award, and was sitting there with the girls from Sweet Pain and the Claytons from the back porch, and we were talking. And whenever they announced TEAZUR, I'm like, "What'd he say?"
Yep.
I didn't have anything prepared, didn't know what to say, and if there's ever been a time that I froze on stage or going to the stage, that was it, because I was totally unprepared.
Yeah, you and Rio both were just like deer in the headlights.
I was looking around
idea.
for Rio. I'm like, where did Rio go?
Well, he had just performed, so he was still in the green room.
backstage. Yeah. And I'm looking around like I'm expecting a booger bear to jump out at me. I'm looking for Rio, and he comes out from backstage, and I know whenever I walked up there, and I'm like, "You go first," because I don't know what to say. Have no idea.
It was a cool moment. Because I know we were talking beforehand, and you were just like, "Man, it's just so great to be nominated."
It is great to be nominated, especially for us, because this is a social media thing. It's social media driven, and by definition, the younger generation is going to dominate that.
Yeah.
Especially the bands that have, they have their friends at school that follow them, their mom and dad. Jack Venable Jack and Cindy Venable. They are the alley machine.
Yeah.
And same thing with Tyler Linnaeus.
Right.
With his parents. When he won all those awards those 2 years in a row. And I'm like, man, we don't have a chance at this because we don't promote it. We don't push it. I'm not that guy to go, "Hey, would you vote for me for this?" I'd really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. If you're doing that, you're not winning.
But see, the cool thing is, though, we've gotten to the point now where this is the 5th year, and people are starting to pick it up a little bit more. And maybe it's even kind of bleeding outside of social media. I think it is to an extent where it's actually people are starting to notice that there's a music scene in East Texas. And when you start asking them who their favorites are, bands like TEAZUR are going to be in that conversation.
For our genre, I would hope so. I mean, there are so many great bands, great acts out there. Darren Morris, Cody Wayne in country, Richard Stewart.
Yeah.
I wish Richard. I used to go see Richard all the time before I started playing. I'd get up and sing with him.
Well, Richard was my first introduction into local music in East Texas.
He's a very talented musician. Got a great voice. Athlete. He was an athlete before he was a musician.
Very versatile and great variety of music when you go.
Richard's one of those people that's good at anything he decides to do.
Absolutely.
And it's great, and it's very nice to see people getting involved, and East Texas music kind of being that vehicle. It's appreciated.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like Texas high school football. You go to New Mexico or you go to anywhere.
Right.
It comes to high school football, you've got Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, maybe, and California.
Well, I would have to throw Massachusetts in there too.
Well, I don't know. I don't hear a lot.
Well, it may not be so much now, but back in my day, we were nationally ranked 3 out of my 4 years.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
And Brockton, Mass. is called the City of Champions.
Okay.
And that's not because of our football team. It's because of Rocky Marciano and Marvin Hagler.
Oh, I got you.
And our mascot was the boxer, like the dog. But it was after Rocky. And
that's neat.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, 3 out of 4 years we were nationally ranked.
Cool.
But nowhere near as big as Friday, Texas.
No, it's a religion in
football
Texas.
down here. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, where else do you have multi-million-dollar stadiums being built?
Well, that, and you go to a homecoming game anywhere in Texas, you're going to walk at least a mile or two to get to the stadium. I've never seen anything like that before.
It's an addiction, just like anything else is. I was addicted to it whenever I played.
Well, my kids have been in band, so we've seen a lot of football games. Believe me. So what's coming up for TEAZUR in the future?
Work. I mean, we work every weekend. Well, I shouldn't say it's work. It's a passion.
Yeah.
It's what we love to do. But we're set on cruise control. We're playing every Saturday night. We're playing a lot of Friday nights. End of the year's coming up. I think Mike's going to look at maybe booking a few more festivals next year.
That'll be cool.
We missed out on the Cherokee Creek Music Festival this year because that thing was oil field driven. The guy that owns Energy Transfer was behind that, and they took a pretty good ding this year. And they still wanted us to play. And we said, look, just save the money you're going to spend on us, and we'll come back next year.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at hopefully getting to play a few more festivals like that. We'd love to get our album finished and get it out.
I've got a fan question on that.
Okay.
Shelly Chapman Carey has two questions. The first one is, how is the album coming?
The album is waiting. I'll put it this way: the album is there. It's waiting for us to go in and feed it and water it and put it back out in the sun and get it growing again. Rio he's been spending a lot of time getting his business going with Jackie, and me personally, I've had changes at work. I mean, I work a full-time job during the week too, and it's right now we've got some stuff that just needs to be finished. If we could knuckle down on it, it probably wouldn't take us just a few months to get it done, but it's just finding the time, really, to dedicate to it. But once we do, I mean, I have no doubt once we get back to task on it, it won't take us long.
And my guess would be it'll be very popular.
I hope so.
I really do.
I hope so. Whether it's popular or not, I hope the people that actually hear it like it.
Yeah.
We had a song played on the Breeze, God rest its soul. I hope that wasn't a death knell. Was TEAZUR getting a song played on the air?
No.
But no, I'm just kidding. But we were playing.
It sounded better than what's being played on there now, which is just.
Yeah. They did an interview. They interviewed Mike and I to promote.
Yeah,
Porch
I remember
Fest.
that. Yeah.
And at the end of it, they played one of our original songs, and I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of motivation for me to get busy and get some more of them on.
What song did they play?
They played Ride. Mm-hmm. And it's a tribute to people that ride motorcycles.
Yeah.
Year and a half, whenever, I don't remember when it was that the thing went down in Waco with the biker shooting down there. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because we were coming back, we were actually playing at Cherokee Creek that year and passed within just a mile of that, coming back through Waco, headed home, and didn't know about it till we got home. But we were scheduled to play a charity bike rally in Mount Pleasant. It was scheduled to take place in Mount Pleasant. The Dog Fest is named after one of an officer up there that had, he rode motorcycles and was into that. But it was a charity thing.
Yeah.
Well, it was a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever after all that went down in Waco. Well, the city of Mount Pleasant shut them down because it was a quote-unquote biker event.
Okay.
And they didn't want any trouble.
That's crazy.
Well, it kind of irritated us, and we had this song sitting there, and it's kind of a funny story because the song that I wrote, the lyrics that I wrote to go along with this song that was recorded, that's the way we do things. Rio will come up with a riff, we'll put structure to it. Okay, and cut it here, and let's make this verse and chorus. Well, my idea of where the chorus and the verses were supposed to be were backwards. Everybody else had a different idea in mind, and they're like, they'd never heard the lyrics I wrote for it. We go into the studio, I sing it, and look over at Mike and Rio, and they're shaking their head at me. I'm like, what? He said, you got the chorus and the verse in the wrong place. I'm like, how can you say that? How do you know that? He's like, well, listen to the structure, and they played it without the music. And I'm like, you're right. So I scrapped the entire song that I'd written, and I'm like, and that was on my mind, about the biker thing. So sat down and rewrote the lyrics and the entire song in probably a matter of an hour.
Wow.
It just fell together.
It's crazy how that happens a lot of times.
In studio, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we did it that night in studio, and I sang all the lead parts, and Clint came in, and he and Mike and I, and Rio too, put all the backing vocals on it, and it was just very weird how fast that song came together, and I think it's probably the best one on the album so far.
Cool. And I did hear that on the radio. It's a really
you like
good
it?
song. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I was like, man, finally a TEAZUR original. Good deal. And it's on the radio. So a little bit more of a serious based question. Okay. Shelly also wants to know who does your hair.
Well, then I'm gonna. I'm going to put a plug in. The woman that does my hair, her name is Dee Dee Boyd. She is one of my best friends in the world. I went to school with her at Sabine. I've known her my whole life. And she is the only one that I trust to... she's the reason I've got these multicolored streaks in my hair. I was not having it. And I finally told her, just, you know what, I trust you. Just do it. And I don't know.
It's kind of a signature now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But anyway, her place is in Mount Pleasant. It's called Dee Dee and Friends. It's right off the square in Mount Pleasant. Go see her. She will. She's very busy though. I have to tell you that. I have to make an appointment now.
Well, go check her out, you guys out there. Shelly, you wanted the answer. There
Yeah,
it
Shelly,
is.
go up to Mount Pleasant and see Dee Dee Boyd and give her my name. She'll give you a hug or something. I doubt you get a discount.
All right, Shannon Gonzalez wants to know, what is your favorite food?
Probably your favorite food. We're built about the same, right?
Pizza?
I like pizza. I don't know if I have a favorite. I think that's my problem. I don't have a favorite. I like everything. I don't like. It's probably be easier to tell you what I don't like. I don't like liver. I don't like green beans out of a can. Gizzards, anything like that. I don't get into all that. But yeah, I love Italian food. I love seafood. Sorry, Angie, I do. Steak and potatoes.
Back Porch has great food.
Back Porch has a lot of great food.
Yeah.
Downtown Kilgore, not too far from everything that blinks.
That's right. Just keep going down Main Street. It'll be on the right-hand side on the corner of Broadway.
2015 Music Venue of the Year.
That's right. And finalist this year as well.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so last fan question.
Okay.
How did you get the nickname Mufasa?
Where'd that come from?
That's also from Shannon Gonzalez.
From Shannon? Well, whenever Cole, our son, blessed us with grandbabies, they're step grandbabies, but to us, they're grandbabies. We're very attached to them. We're pretty young, not ready to be called grandma or grandpa. And actually, Brandy got hers first. Little Levi, he's 5, was trying to get her attention at the house one day, and as ladies tend to do, they get to talk and they talk and don't really listen to what's going on around him. He was trying to get her attention. He finally hollered at her, "Hey, Cupcake!" Well, she turned and looked at him, and he got her attention. It just stuck. Well, so we were like, well, that's your Cupcake from now on. And you know who Mufasa is? Mufasa is the original Lion King.
Right.
And with the hair, in the main, it just kind of fit. He's, you're going to be Mufasa. I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with that. It's the little one,
It's better than Cupcake, right?
Yeah, I like that. I'm glad she's not Mufasa and I'm Cupcake. I'd be a little emasculated by that. But yeah, the grandbaby's kind of nice. And it kind of was, it was a mutual thing. I'm like, yeah, I'm good with Mufasa. He was going to call me something else. I'm like, no, I think I like Mufasa better.
Yeah.
The baby girl, she calls me Fasa. So that's how that, she was 2. She couldn't really make the moo and the fuh at the same time without it sounding
That's
weird.
cool, though. That's really cool.
But yeah, it's those are my babies, man. Love those kids.
I know we're getting long on time, almost to 60 minutes, so I'll give you an opportunity to let folks know where they can find TEAZUR on social media, where they can hear you guys.
Actually, it's really easy. Our page is on Facebook, and everything we do is based off of Facebook. But to make it easy, you can still go to the old link to TEAZUR.com, TEAZUR.com, without having to do all the Facebook slash and pokes and prods, and it will link you directly over to our Facebook page. Bios, song lists, and our entire schedule. Every time Mike books a show, that's next. He puts up an event for it. So if you go down to the events page on our Facebook page and click subscribe, you will be privy to every show that we have booked from here.
That's
to
a cool
there.
little feature they have on there,
It's
too.
very
You
nice.
can
It's
subscribe to
easy.
the events, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tobie, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy with a full-time job.
Well, thank you for the interest, Chris. It's
Appreciate
always
you
a
coming
pleasure.
in. A lot of people had emailed us about having you on the show,
Really?
so we were trying to get that accomplished. And
So my
I'm glad
mom
we
figured
did.
out email, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. She said, just don't talk about gospel.
Yeah, don't talk about the gospel.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Chris.
And I want to thank you guys out there for listening to another great episode of ETX Rocks. Make sure while you're on there on Facebook checking out TEAZUR, please head on over to ETX Rocks on Facebook and give us a like as well. Remember, guys, to always support your local music, and ETX Rocks.
We are ETX Rocks!